For over 3 decades, the International Space Station has been humanity's greatest symbol of cooperation. Americans, Russians, Chinese, scientists and cosmonauts working side by side, orbiting Earth together, proving that even in our coldest conflicts, space could be a place of unity. That era is ending. And what's replacing it? An arms race unlike anything we've seen since the Cold War. Orbital weapons. Military satellites. Cyberspace warfare, in actual space. The question isn't just who owns the moon anymore. It's who controls the heavens. Welcome to MindSnap. Today, we're breaking down why the United States and Russia just officially ended their partnership, what's driving the new space arms race, and why China's already 10 moves ahead. Let's rewind 6 months. On July 31st, 2026, the Christian Science Monitor broke a story most people missed. The United States and Russia have diverged on their joint space plans. To most ears, that sounds bureaucratic. Insignificant. But read between the lines and you're looking at the symbolic end of the space age as we knew it. Here's what happened. 2 Russian cosmonauts and 1 American astronaut launched from Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan just weeks ago. Another Soyuz, heading to the ISS, following a pattern that's held for 25 years. But everyone knows the script now. The International Space Station is aging out. It was designed to operate until 2028, maybe 2030 if we're lucky. The partnership that built it, NASA and Roscosmos, is now quietly dissolving. And yes, there's the obvious culprit, Ukraine. The war has poisoned cooperation. NASA cut ties with Russian space agencies back in 2022. Joint projects went on hold. But that's only half the story. The real story is this: space has stopped being about exploration. It's about dominance. Think about what's in orbit right now. The United States operates roughly 78% of all satellites in the world. China has climbed to 8%. Russia? They're running around 110 military satellites, many of them decades old, bleeding money just to keep them functional. But here's what should terrify American policymakers: China's satellite fleet just crossed 1,060 operational units, and they're accelerating. Half of these are dedicated to intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance, military applications. The other half? Starlink killers. Chinese communications satellites designed to do exactly what SpaceX's Starlink does, but for Beijing's network instead of Silicon Valley's. Let's talk about what's actually happening in orbit, because this is where it gets real. In January 2026, the United States Space Force officially changed its doctrine. No longer is space a sanctuary. No longer are we just watching and protecting satellites. We're now building weapons designed to destroy enemy satellites, jam communications, and conduct electronic warfare at orbital altitudes. The Trump administration has approved $40 billion in fiscal 2026 funding for space defense. That's a record. That includes counter-space weapons, actual military systems designed to take out other nations' satellites. Lasers. Kinetic strike weapons. Directed energy systems. This isn't science fiction anymore. These are operational programs. Here's what most people don't understand: whoever controls space controls Earth. Sounds dramatic? It's not. Every piece of global infrastructure depends on satellites. Your GPS, military communications, financial systems, weather forecasting, telecommunications. If China or Russia knocked out America's satellite constellation, our entire military and economy grinds to a halt within hours. We're not talking about localized damage. We're talking about societal collapse. China knows this. Which is why they're building redundancy. Which is why their military satellite program is running circles around Russia's budget-starved operations. And which is why they're developing their own anti-satellite weapons. Let me walk you through what's at stake. China tested an anti-satellite missile in 2015, destroying a weather satellite and creating thousands of pieces of debris still in orbit. Since then, they've been perfecting kinetic kill vehicles, satellites that can maneuver close to other satellites and destroy them with explosive charges. Russia has similar capabilities, though less refined. The US is building these systems as well, but here's the asymmetry: if we use them, we're destroying our own satellites, because we have 78% of everything up there. That's the trap. Mutually assured destruction, but in space. Meanwhile, China is executing a strategy that's both brilliant and concerning. They're not trying to match the US satellite for satellite. They're building hybrid military-commercial architectures. Public satellites that happen to have military applications. Communications systems that are also surveillance platforms. Starlink competitors that can be repurposed instantly. The US Space Force calls China their primary competitor in space. That's not hype. That's strategic assessment. And Russia? Russia is becoming a bit player. They've got 110 military satellites, many of them from the 1960s. They're struggling to launch new ones because of economic sanctions and the drain from Ukraine. Putin tried to pivot to cooperation with China, but even that's proving inadequate. Russia's space program is in free fall, and Beijing knows it. This brings us back to the ISS and why the direction it's heading matters so much. The International Space Station was always a symbol of what's possible when nations cooperate. But it was built for a different era, the 1990s, when the Cold War had ended and we thought history was done. 30 years later, it's a museum piece. It's also a vulnerability. Why? Because the moment the ISS is decommissioned, Russia loses its seat at the table. They lose funding. They lose American astronauts training on their modules. They lose access to cutting-edge research. And they certainly lose any leverage over the United States. NASA has already announced plans for commercial space stations to eventually replace the ISS. These stations would be built by American companies, SpaceX, Blue Origin, Axiom Space. They'd orbit above Earth, conducting experiments, hosting visitors, and serving as stepping stones for lunar missions. And here's the thing, they'd be American infrastructure, developed with American money, largely controlled by American companies. China is watching this very carefully. Because while the US pivots toward commercial platforms and lunar exploration, China is building its own space station. It's called Tiangong, and it's been inhabited continuously since 2021. It's smaller than the ISS, but it's fully Chinese-controlled. No Americans aboard. No joint projects. Pure strategic independence. The message is clear, the era of shared space is over. Now it's about whose flags orbit furthest from Earth. So what does this mean for you, watching from Earth? First, the race to the moon is accelerating. The US wants to establish a permanent lunar base. China wants the same thing. Russia would too, but frankly, resources are tight. The moon isn't just about science anymore. It's about resources, rare earth minerals, water ice for fuel, strategic positioning. Second, space debris is becoming a catastrophic problem. Every satellite destroyed creates thousands of pieces of shrapnel traveling at 17,500 miles per hour. One piece can destroy another satellite, creating more debris, triggering a cascade effect called Kessler Syndrome. We could reach a point where space becomes unusable for everyone. China, the US, and Russia are all walking this knife's edge, building weapons that could destroy their own infrastructure. Third, cyber warfare is moving to space. China has been helping Russia jam Ukraine's Starlink satellites. That's not theoretical, that's happening right now. Electronic warfare is moving from ground-based systems to orbital platforms. The next conflict won't just be fought on land or sea. It'll be fought in orbit, with civilian infrastructure as collateral damage. And fourth, and this is the really important part, the dream of space exploration as a shared human endeavor is dying. We're not going to the moon together. We're not building joint research stations. We're racing. And in a race, there are winners and losers. The question is, where does that leave humanity? The ISS was imperfect. But it proved cooperation was possible. Once it's gone, once we've fully militarized space, once the first anti-satellite weapon is used in anger, we won't be able to put that genie back in the bottle. The space age isn't over. But the era of space cooperation is. What's replacing it is a new kind of Cold War, played out at 22,000 miles per altitude, where the weapons move at thousands of miles per hour, and the stakes are nothing less than control of human civilization's critical infrastructure. The cosmonauts and astronauts who launched from Baikonur a few weeks ago might be among the last to work together in space. That's the real story. Not geopolitics or weapons systems, though those matter. The real story is that we're losing something precious, the dream that space could transcend our earthbound conflicts. Whether we choose to build a different future is still up to us. But the window for that choice is closing fast. Follow Mind Snap. Facts that change how you see everything.